Welcome back. Another episode, Fade the Deuce. I'm Ryan Evans Schroet, joined as always, Urbana's finest, Kevin Duce. Oh, no, he wanted to go. No, come on back, man. Where are you going? All right. And Manhattan's favorite lost son, Manhattan, Kansas.
Yeah, right.
Matt, your Cumber, my Cumber.
Everybody's Cumber.
He's everybody's Cumber. We need to have an intro like cumbersome when you come on.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
Yeah, that's gonna be your ringtone if you ever call me. After another enjoyable weekend of college football, back for another episode of Fade to Deuce. As Illinois fans, well, how was your weekend, Matt?
Man, ecstatic. Two weekends in a row. Well, not in a row, but two out of the last three that I've stayed up till 1:30 in the morning, just consuming all the Illini football content on X. And
I know.
Just can't get enough. I didn't want to go to sleep.
Lukey Altmaier was on Jim Rome today.
He was, yeah. Great interview.
It was a nice interview. Yeah.
It's really, really awesome to see him getting his flowers and the team. A lot of people kind of talking about him now. They're in the national media spotlight here a little bit. So hopefully we can continue to keep it rolling here in Happy Valley. Tough task.
And I can tell you this, Kevin, there's nothing quite like a win-in Friday night and you can just sit back and enjoy Saturday, right?
Man.
Yeah, I could have sat back and enjoyed Saturday if I didn't have a 6-hour drive, but it was a much more pleasant drive trying to listen to every college football podcast I could possibly listen to on everybody's thoughts. So it was a great, exciting win. I highly encourage, if anybody ever goes to if you ever go to a road game, just take the time, go down, find the Illinois fan section. You can talk to some players, you can talk to some fans, parents of players. It's just a really cool environment. You run into Whitman like you and I did that one year in the Northwestern. It's a really cool place to do it. It's just something about a road game just hits different, especially when you win. So
100%. And so talking about that, let's start off with Illinois Penn State. I feel like that's a good way to start this. As our favorite, are one of our favorite, people who follow the show, even the backup co-host of Keeping It Orange and Blue, Jay Began says 18 points. Better see all three of you picking the Illini to cover. Well, Justin, here we go. And we're going to start with Kev this week. So 18 points, the line moved up half a point. I think that worried you guys a little before we started the show. You guys were worried because, as they told me, Vegas knows. So what does Vegas know is the question. They didn't know last week, though.
They
did not. So Illinois embarrassed them. I think that maybe – have you ever thought maybe they're holding a little bit of a grudge towards the Illini?
Never. They don't care about anything but green. They want 50% of the money to come on both sides and win on the juice, right?
All right, well, give us the juice, Kev.
Well, here's the juice. It's when you look at it on the surface. Let's take Joe Q Public Better. Here's what I encourage all the listeners, anybody who's subscribing to do this: is ask your friend who's not an Illinois fan. Hey, just off the top of your head, Penn State's favored by 18. What's your thoughts? Oh, Illinois is covered that. Oh, I get almost. It's at Penn State. I still think Illinois cover. That's a line that worries me. That's called a trap line, right? On trap lines, I go back to the 2008 NCAA tournament when our guest picker taught me about trap lines. West Virginia was playing Duke in the second round of the tournament. They were a 7 seed. Duke was a 2 seed. That was Joe Alexander. Remember him, Matt?
Yeah.
Stud. And the line
was
like
Kevin Pittsnoggle.
He wasn't around then. He was back in
a
05 team that lost to Louisville when Illinois played.
Mike Gansey, there were some ballers, man. Anyway,
John Beeline, the coach.
Yeah.
But the line was like 3.5. Duke minus 3.5. And Eric looks at me and he goes, "Hey, dude, this game's played 2 months ago, neutral site. What's the line?" I'm like, "Duke 7, 8." He goes, "That's what's called a trap line." He says the public's going to be jumping on Duke. Sharps are going to be on West Virginia. Take West Virginia. I took West Virginia on the money line. They won the game. Right. This is what I think is a trap line. This is where I think that the public is going to see this line and they're going to want to jump on Illinois. But the Sharps are already moving it. Sharps is normally early money, right? And so we've seen that line move a half. Sharps are not coming in super heavy on Penn State, but they're coming in. That leaves me a lot of concern. I do wonder. I haven't seen any of those like Bill Steele's, teams coming off back-to-back prime time games and on the road as a ranked underdog, like what they are against the spread. But dude, I cannot take 18 points here. I'm going with the Illini. 18 points is too much. With all that being said, I'm just leaving it out there for the cautious bettors that don't get over super hype and think, it might happen. It might not work out in our favor, and that's okay. But I do think I said on the show on Sunday night, I think it was like 31-23. I'm sticking with that. I think Illinois covers the spread. I think they're too competent of a football team to get blown out.
Yeah, that was a great synopsis by Kev there, especially with the sharp money. And it worried me as well, seeing that line tick up a little bit. But we'll see where it settles right before game time. But to Kev's point, this is a very competent Illinois team. Hasn't always been that way in the past, but very well coached. They're not going to beat themselves. You hope not anyway. They just are coming from a huge win on the road in a tough environment. This will be equally as tough, if not tougher. I think they'll kind of know how to manage this game. Offense is humming at probably the best we've seen in 4 or 5 years consistently so far.
Even with whiteout energy?
Even with whiteout energy.
Whatever the hell that is.
Yeah, right. Both of these quarterbacks have been really, really good to start the season. And I'd even give Altmaier a little bit tick better than Aller, just from an efficiency standpoint, whatnot. I just 18 points with a team that can play defense, a team that has proven they can beat ranked teams. It's not like Illinois has played Sisters of the Poor the first 4 games. Penn State, very talented. Penn State defense, very good. They are missing a DB in the secondary, Winston, that I think might knock them down a peg or two. I would like to see Altmaier really stretch that D and take some chances here. End of the day, Illinois has nothing to lose. This is house money. Go out, play free. I think they will. I don't think they're going to beat themselves. 18 points, too much. Give me the Illini.
I like it because at the end of the day, they could think about this. They could be down, let's say it's 35-14 or something. And Penn State's like, all right, they might put their backups in and Illinois gets a last minute touchdown even or something like that. I don't think Penn State's going to be worried about the cover. Like at the end of the day, I don't think Penn State's going to worry about the cover.
I go back to last year, like week 1 against West Virginia, where they punched it in real late to cover the 20, and your boy got the dub on that one. I wonder.
You never know in this day and age with, the rankings and wins that look better than others.
Okay. So they want to maybe get some brownie points, huh?
Yeah, you never know. I mean, voters are weird,
Yeah.
A lot of voters look at different things. So
I am proud both of you did this. I know it's kind of tricky because it's like, oh, well, to me, and again, these are the two who battle it out for the picks on the show. But just from my perspective looking at it, I think Penn State hasn't really played near what Illinois' schedule has. That doesn't take away what Penn State has talent-wise. It doesn't take away 110,000 people. It doesn't take away the whiteout energy. It doesn't take away anything. But the fact that Illinois, I think, is road-tested. I think they're mentally tested. I think these guys have more than one chip on their shoulder. Yeah. They carry 2, as Brett Bielema likes to say. They're going to be ready, man. And I don't see this team having any weeks this year where they're just not competent. They may not play perfect every week, but I think every week you're going to see them prepared.
Yeah, I'd take Illinois getting 18 points against any non-tier 1 team, and I don't put Penn State in my tier 1. My tier 1 is reserved for Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, probably Texas. Texas is in that list. Ole Miss.
Ole Miss looks good.
Ole Miss and Tennessee might be in that list too. So
yeah.
And Jason Ron is exactly correct. They broke it down on the big show. I don't know if it was tonight or last night. I watched it earlier today. That Tom Allen's team can be got in one-on-one coverage on the outside, and that's where Illinois has thrived this year. So we're going to have to do that. If Illinois can score, we'll be all right.
Yeah. I cannot believe that they basically broke down how Bowling Green was able to have success on Penn State.
You saw that same thing.
Wow, that's great. And look, we know different players, but remember, Illinois has had success against Tom Allen's teams. Throwing the ball.
They have,
and so Tom Allen's not just changing his colors; he's the same guy. He believes in the same principles. So. And what the thing you talked about, it's Winston. Well, we talked about it on Keeping It Orange and Blue. Didn't know his name, but I did let Ev know that Kyle Golick, who works with me, who writes there at Mike Farrell Sports, he's a credentialed Penn State writer. So he told me that guy is like their Sidney Brown, their Matt Bailey. So it really hurts them.
Yeah,
that he's out. So they have to move another piece in and fill another gap that. It's just nobody's really where they should be right now. So Illinois has a chance at moving that ball. So I like the pick. Now, next game on the docket, we're going.
Real quick, our guest picker.
Sorry. Yes, your guest pick. Go ahead.
Guest picker, Eric, he's in on the Illini as well. So that we're in consensus there. I'm on it for a half unit. Matt, what say you?
I am on it for a half unit as well.
All
right. General consensus. I like it. Oklahoma State goes to the Little Big Apple. Okay, Matt, I know I mentioned it earlier, and I can't help it. Here's intriguing. Both coming off losses.
Yep.
Both coming off losses in different ways.
Yep.
Kansas State just got embarrassed.
They did.
In Provo. The whole punt return, fumble shenanigans, Angels in the outfield routine.
Man.
Like, I watched a clip of that where – a guy broke it down that Kansas State tackled
each other
own guys.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I'm sure the BYU guy was like, yeah, it must have been the chili dog I ate last night. You're like, no, it was just Kansas State. So that was embarrassing. And their coach, Kyle, is it Kleiman?
Yeah, Chris Kleiman.
Chris Kleiman. Yeah, I got both wrong. Chris Kleiman. He's not somebody who's going to mess around and play around. That they're going to be focused, amped up, ready to reinvigorate themselves and get that nasty taste off their mouth from out of Provo. And Oklahoma State, who lost a home game to that Utah really comfortably won. I know at the end it looked like it was a 3-point game, but I think it was like 22-3 at the start of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So Oklahoma State did a fake rally, But it is what it is. So to me, before we get to your pick, I feel like K-State and this line 4.5. I'm shocked it's not more, Matt. But we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, great synopsis. There's no shame in K-State losing at a 4-0 BYU. Provo, very tough place to play, but it's the manner that they lost. Didn't score an offensive touchdown, 3 field goals. Basically got obliterated by 4 TDs around that number. I forget what the final was, but I know K-State only scored 9 points.
Was it 38-9 or something?
38-9. That sounds right. Yeah. So, I mean, 29 points and just absolutely embarrassed. They will be ready at home. Trust me on that. And to your point with Oklahoma State, it's almost, Utah comes into the game, and doesn't have Cam Rising. Doesn't
play.
Doesn't play. They got to start Zach Wilson's brother, the backup, who's a freshman, and made some mistakes, but at the same time, enough to give them a 22-3 lead heading into the fourth quarter. And I don't know what is up with Ollie Gordon, but Oklahoma State can't run the ball to save their lives. He's barely averaging three yards a rush. And both of these teams were coming in the Big 12 this year to contend for the Big 12 title with Utah. I mean, I think it's a must-win for both teams, if I'm being quite honest. I don't see the quarterback Bowman at Oklahoma State. He was so bad on Saturday they had to bench him.
Kansas State's quarterback was not much better,
and he wasn't. And I just think that Oklahoma State will not be able to score enough at Kansas State. Look for maybe a special teams play to decide this game, something like that. K-State's very good special teams. At 4.5, I'm taking the Wildcats all day long. This is a bounce back for them at home. They're going to be better. They were embarrassed. Give me K-State 4.5, and I put on their 0.5 units.
Barry wants to know, are you in a sleeper survivor pool, Kevin?
I am not. I can't stand them.
All right. Kev, your take on Oklahoma State, Kansas State.
So let's just break this down a little bit, right? Because without a shellacking last week, these numbers are skewed a little bit. But first downs, Kansas State 17, BYU 14. Total yards, Kansas State outgained them by 126 yards. Passing yards were even. Kansas State outrushed them 228-92. They had them everywhere but penalties and turnovers, right? They had time of possession, and then obviously, I mean, it just was the score. The post-game win expectancy was actually in Kansas State's favor.
Yeah.
In Kansas, and now you get a team in Oklahoma State who has a fluke win already. Where I mean, the post-game win expectancy against Arkansas was all in Arkansas's favor. Did whatever they wanted to offensively early in that game against Oklahoma State. I'm not a believer in Oklahoma State. Frankly, I don't know why they're ranked. It's really bothering me why they're a ranked team. I get the better team. I get the team at home. I got to give less than a touchdown here. I think Kansas State might win this one by double digits. Give me Kansas State, and I'm on a full unit for this one, -4.5.
Yeah,
and Eric is on this as well, but he's got a different take. When you bring in the Sharps, they take some different stuff here. No, he's on Oklahoma State plus the 4.5. So he's riding with the Sharps here. That's where the Sharps are going. The lines moved from 6.5 to 4.5. He liked Oklahoma State at 5. I'm sure he likes it at 4.5. So
yeah, I'm kidding.
And that's your what's that? That's your so if you're Neo, who is he to you? That is right. He's the one that he taught you everything you need. Morpheus. There we go. Eric Shannon's Morpheus, and did he take the red pill or the blue pill? I think he took the red one.
I don't know, but my man knows what he's doing when it comes to this stuff, and he's probably got some stuff on some cricket tonight. You know,
some late night tennis in Bangladesh,
some Korean baseball league, maybe.
KBO.
Yes. Man. So let's move our goalposts to South Bend, Indiana, where the Louisville Jeff Brahms, he's coming back to the state of Indiana, the one he loves so much. Is taking on Louisville. He's taking on Notre Dame. Notre Dame, I mean, I got to say this, Miami hadn't won a game this year. I mean, I know they won the MAC last year, but I don't know if they're the same team. You know, Northwestern beat Miami by 7 in week 1. You know, it was kind of a first half struggle for Notre Dame. And then they finally, Leonard got a couple deep touchdown passes, and the NBC crew really worked them up to where, Coach Freeman's got them rolling, He's got them cooking with grease. So Jason Garrett did a hell of a job with that. And Louisville, which is how I'm going to say it, Louisville beat a Georgia Tech team who couldn't get out of their way. Georgia Tech just kicked the ball into the end zone. Louisville recovered it. I think if this is right, I know you look at those stat expectancies. I'd like you to look at that Georgia Tech Louisville one, the win expectancy on that. And I really think Georgia Tech probably was the better team in that game. They also Louisville not only blocked a field goal for a touchdown, but Georgia Tech had the ball in the red zone inside the 10 like 5 times and was stuffed, like on 4th and 1, 3 or 4 of the times. So really, Louisville, I feel like, escaped that game. But coming off a big win, they're heading to South Bend. It looks like 6-point Notre Dame favorite. And this is a tough one, man. So we're gonna start with you on this one, Kev.
Yeah, I'm with Notre Dame here. Barry's on this alt -13. Like, once again, in this game, Georgia Tech, and this really pisses me off because Matt and I were both on Georgia Tech. They outgained them. They out first downed them. They out rushed them. They out passed them. They did everything but win the game. They out timed the possession them. The penalties weren't that even. It was one turnover. It's just a weird game. I'm not buying Louisville yet. I think Notre Dame is a pretty stout team still. I think they're going to be able to run the ball effectively. Miami's a good defense. Miami of Ohio. That's a good defensive team. I less than a touchdown here. I think Notre Dame wins by a touchdown to 10. I'm not against Barry's alt pick, and with the juice, you get -13 there. So why not? I'll roll. I got the juice last week by bumping up Oregon State against Purdue. I wouldn't mind this one as well. I think Notre Dame covers. Give me the Irish at home.
I'm just excited that we get to meet Barry October 19th, Kevin. I hope. What'd you say, Kevin?
This is Barry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he's gonna have a mask on with one of these.
I'm not just hanging out and never tell us who he is.
Yeah, he better shake our hands and tell us who he is. Okay, Matt. Or do you think Jeff Brom is gonna get his Cardinals to keep it under a touchdown here?
Well, I'll say this. I mean, you can't beat them, join them, because last week that was a brutal beat. Georgia Tech should have covered the spread on Louisville. So I'm going to take Louisville this week and go against Kev.
An orange Vader mask.
Yeah. I see this is the 5th matchup between these two schools. Louisville is covered every single time. They're 4-0 lifetime. Riley Leonard is 0-2 against the spread. I know that came when he was at Duke, but and I know rosters have changed, but he's 0-2 versus Louisville against the spread. You've got a top 15 scoring offense in Louisville versus a top 10 defense efficiency wise in Notre Dame. They're still really good on that back end at Notre Dame on defense, but I'm going to ride here with the Louisville Cardinals. I don't know. It's just something in me. One, I don't like Notre Dame, so that's probably affecting my pick here with my heart. But I just feel Riley Leonard, to me, he just hasn't been as impressive as I was hoping he'd be for Notre Dame. I obviously still a lot of time to turn it around, but it took him, as you mentioned, Ryan, a whole half to get going versus Miami of Ohio. If you're a stud QB at Notre Dame, I mean, you're stepping on the throat from snap one. So yeah, it could be a little bit of Miami's defense and to the game plan, but here we are. So I'm going to take Louisville. I'm taking Jeff Brom. I think he'll have a good game plan. I think they're going to keep it within a touchdown here, and I do not think they can or will win, but it might be worth a little sprinkle on the money line under a touchdown here for me.
And I'm on this for a half. What are you?
Yeah, I'm another half on this as well.
What does leader Shannon say?
He looks for the hurricane to possibly throw some wind and some rain up into South Bend, and he's going to jump on the under 48.
Okay. All right, I can dig it. Now let's take the next trip to the land of potato. We're going to head up yonder and go to Boise, Idaho, where the beautiful bluegrass. We love the natural blue turf they've got up there in Boise. And we've got Wazoo, who is 4-0, who, by the way, Matu is looking pretty – where did Mateer play at, Matt, last year?
That's a good question. I don't know.
He is something special. If you guys haven't watched him play, I would suggest you do that. He's a magician, man. He's nifty with his feet. I think he's had 2 or 3 games of over 100 yards rushing. He had almost a 200-yard rushing game. He throws a really nice deep ball, and he's got some receivers who can go snag it. So Washington State's 4-0, and they're heading to Boise State, who is 2-1 with their only loss, the brain dead performance on special teams in Eugene a couple weeks ago. So they're a 7.5-point favorite. So what that tells me is that people are really on Boise because of how close the game was in Eugene, even though last week they weren't super impressive. But I think Washington State, I'm a little surprised it's not a little closer than that. Apparently they don't believe in Washington State's defense. So we'll start with you on this one, right, Matt?
Yeah. Mateer, by the way, or however you say his last name, started at Washington State. So he's a homegrown guy, didn't transfer in.
Okay.
And got out of Texas, sat behind Cam Ward for a couple of years, and now he's where's that?
All right, I like him, man.
Yeah, Little Elm, Texas, north of Dallas. Here's the way I look at it. I don't trust Boise State's defense. They're 125th in defense efficiency. They've given up 45 to Georgia Southern and 37 to this game could both teams in the 40s. That'd be a boat race. And if they're not respecting Wazoo's D, I'm not respecting Boise State's. Mateer can do it on both with his legs and passing. He's been great. Now you got Janty on the other side, the running back from Boise State, who is arguably the best running back in college football. And some lists got him, I think I've talked about it week 2 or 3. I mean, he's a top 3 Heisman watch right now, just from his stats alone. Now, is he going to win it? Probably not. But, he's been great for him. He's averaging 11 yards per carry on 55 carries this year, which is unbelievable. So it's just crazy to me. But, yeah, I liken this Wazoo team to an upstart Illinois team. I think they're very similar in a lot of ways. Didn't have a lot of respect coming out of preseason, and they've just gone and handled business. I know their schedules might be different, but I really like Wazoo's team. So I'm taking them +7 under the lights on the blue turf. Give me the Cougs +7.
All right, Kev.
I'm with you here, Matt. I think that they're not getting the respect maybe they deserve. I think they've got competent. Well, yeah, I think they've got a competent enough defense to keep this game close enough. I do think that the 64 is looking maybe a little bit like an over here because the 2 best players on this game are both on offense. You already mentioned Janty and Mateer. Mateer's got 1,100 yards passing and 11 touchdowns, but also has 435 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns.
Crazy.
He's accounted for 16 touchdowns and almost 1,500 yards of offense.
Very Johnny Manziel-ish.
Yeah.
He's fun to watch, I'm telling you.
He is, and it should be an interesting game. It is under the lights. It is under the blue turf. Those folks are going to come out and be wild. Watch out for wide receiver Kyle Williams for Washington State. 16 catches on the year, 322 yards, 4 touchdowns, 20 yards per catch. It's a pretty nice stat line there. And Washington State's had some decent opponents. I mean, they beat Washington earlier in the year. They beat San Jose State last week. I'm not saying San Jose State's great.
They're a competent program, San Jose.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think 7.5 is too much for me to swallow here. Give me the Cougs. And the Cougs dump truck what's looking like maybe a pretty decent Texas Tech team. Give me the Cougs to come.
I was going to say, Washington State's got a really decent resume, and I'm shocked they're right outside the top 25, and Boise's number 25. So literally Washington State's 26 in the poll, Boise's 25. They're just going to swap spots here.
There's a bunch of teams just sitting right outside that should be in ranks, and it's like Indiana, Rutgers.
Yeah, here soon we're going to start, even if it's not top 25. We're going to get an Indiana sighting in this show soon because their offense is fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree.
and they're going to be ranked if they beat Maryland, I think, this week. So,
Steve Signetti, head coach of Florida.
That's right. I was going to say, man, Florida missed out, dude. Indiana got him a good one.
For how long?
Yeah, he's going to leave Indiana for bigger pastures. Yeah. Did Shannon? What was Shannon's pick on this?
He's following us. He's on Wazoo plus the 7.5, and I'm on this for a half a unit. Matt's on it for a full.
Yep, that's correct.
He's a Mateer believer.
Hey, only a redshirt sophomore. I mean, this guy.
Wow, future's bright. So yeah. And I am happy for them that they're going to form a Pac-12. I'll be shocked if UNLV doesn't jump in. It just makes too much sense.
They should. It should be the next one.
Yep. So the final game on the docket tonight. I know most people will be watching Illinois, Penn State in primetime on NBC, but some people might flip over to the Georgia Bama game in Tuscaloosa. This for supremacy is what they say. And so 2-point spread here for the Georgia Bulldogs, 2-point road favorites here. I don't want to ruin it for you, Kev, because I really didn't look at who you're picking on this, but this is like a home dog in prime time pick. There is one. So
I need like a sound. I need a sound effect for it. Home dog, prime time, game day.
Yep, Kevin, you're taking the lead on this one. Go for it.
I think they have the better offense. I think they might be the better team. Give me Bama +2 for this show. Probably going to the window for the money line. I like Bama in this one. I like Bama to win. I don't remember the last time Georgia lost a regular season SEC game. Streak ends Saturday night.
Lee Corso, bring it.
Not so fast, my friend. I want to say here, I think this is a great spot for Georgia. Both coming off buys, but Georgia got knocked down a couple pegs, I'm sure, by Kirby Smart after that performance versus Kentucky, where they barely snuck out a 13-12 win on the road. And I think they've been hearing for the last 2 weeks of how bad they've been or how disappointed they were in that game. Not that they should have been. I mean, it was a tough environment, but they didn't play up to their standard, obviously. A couple just fun tidbits here for the game. Alabama, the last time they were a dog other than Georgia, 2009 versus Tim Tebow, Florida. Okay.
Wow.
Kirby Smart.
At home, right?
At any point, a dog.
Whoa.
Regular season dog.
Okay. Other than Georgia. Kirby Smart, 1-5 versus Alabama. Now, is that a Nick Saban effect? Will it be different with a new head coach, or is that a Bama? Can he just not beat Bama? All right. Top two, both teams are top 5. Okay. Top 5 home dogs since 1990. It's happened 71 times when there's two teams that are in the top 5 and the top 5 home dog. 18-53 straight up that home dog, and 28-42 against the spread. So not good numbers if you're Bama.
Apparently you didn't. Kevin doesn't agree with it, but I won't leave you when you're talking. Okay.
Yeah. And then 2 top 5 teams again. Okay. Home dogs are just 4-12 straight up and 7-9 against the spread in the last 30 years. So those are just some fun, trends and tidbits here. But again, like to my point, I think this is a great spot for Kirby Smart. I think he'll have his guys ready. I'm in agreement with Kevin. I think Alabama does have the better offense. I think Georgia's got the better defense. And 2, I think it will come down to a little weather effect from a possible hurricane. If that's the case and it's sloppy, I'm taking defense all day long. So give me the Georgia Bulldogs -2.
I love what you brought to the table there, Matt, with the stats and information. I don't give a shit. I'm taking Bama at home, and even in a rain game, give me that big 240-pound running quarterback, man. I like that.
He's a load.
Eric, our guest picker, is on the under 48.5. Barry, he sides with you. So.
I would agree on that under. I think it's going to be a bloodbath in the trenches.
All right. Well, it's that favorite time of everybody's fade the Duce, and it's not because we're almost over or done. It's because it's lock of the week. Lock of the week.
Your lock of the week.
I'm gonna get a soundbite. I need to make one. Yeah, the lock, fade the Duce, lock of the week. So how did you
Sponsored
both?
by?
Sponsored by Duluth Trader Underwear. That's my
right.
Here at the house. Like, I need me some Duluth Traders
and Barbasol.
Yeah. So how did you guys do last week on your locks? Explain, both of you. Matt, how was your lock?
My lock was a dead to right loser from about the jump. I just can't. I got one right the week before, but since then I think I'm 1-3, and that's just killed my overall units. But Arkansas State didn't have a chance. It was, I don't know the final score, but I mean they scored
52-7.
Yeah, they scored in the fourth quarter with like 4 minutes to go in the game.
I guess the whole Alex Orji just needed another week to get his foot under him, but maybe the running back. Who went off against USC?
Mullins.
Yeah, I don't think he didn't show out against Arkansas State. So
that was a major miss and misread by me. So I'll own it. Nothing you can do about it. But
hey,
I'm going to the well this weekend. I'm going out to Southern California, Wisconsin at USC. Wisconsin without the quarterback, Van Dyke hurt. I'm taking the under 51 here. I know USC can put up some numbers. I know they can score. I don't see Wisconsin be able to score. I hope Wisconsin's defense is confident enough to keep it relatively close, maybe in the first half, slow the game down a little bit. But USC's defense is a lot better too, as we just witnessed at Michigan. So I don't see Wisconsin scoring very much. This is like a 30-13 game, a 35-13 game. Give me under 51, Wisconsin, USC.
Kev?
All right. I am we talked a little bit. My lock last week was BYU. Hit that with ease. Post-game win expectancy was really in favor of BYU. Ease. I don't know why that was. I looked that up. It was interesting. I'm going to go here, and the weather is going to concern me a little bit unless there's major changes in the forecast. Right now, I really like Indiana, Maryland over 55. Over 53 now, as a matter of fact. I think maybe some money's moving in because they're worried about weather, and that could change things, especially with two passing offenses. My lock record is 4-1. So that's why I'm up on the units. I just think you've got an Indiana offense that is shown to be really explosive. Maryland's strength is their offense. Maryland gave up a ton of big plays to Michigan State when they played earlier in the year. Indiana loves throwing the deep ball. But at the same time, Maryland might have the best wide receiver quarterback they got the best wide receiver quarterback combo right now as far as the guys linking up. Billy Edwards Jr. and what's the wide receiver's name? But he leads the Big Ten in receiving yards. I think Edwards might lead the Big Ten in passing yards. I think this game is going to be a score fest unless they get a lot of nasty weather. Give me over 53 Indiana, Maryland for my lock of the week.
Yeah, and I love that one.
What does Mr. Shannon have?
He's got Arkansas A&M over 52.
All right.
I haven't given a lot of looking at. I really like USC to cover as well. I'll just throw a little thing. It's 14.5. I don't think that the public's catching up with the fact that Wisconsin could be on a third-string quarterback yet.
Exactly, and that's to my point. I don't think they can score. This is a 3-touchdown loss for the Badgers to me.
Well, I'm 3-1 on my cash money locks this year. So I scoured. I was looking, trying to find that one where I feel real confident. So I'll explain my thought process. I am going Michigan at home plus 11. 11-point favorite at home over Minnesota. Okay. Here's why. What did Michigan do really well against USC?
Run the ball.
What did Minnesota not do against Iowa?
Stop the run.
Where is the game?
Michigan.
I think they can win by more than I think they can win by at least 2 touchdowns. So I don't like what I saw from Minnesota.
I don't think they can score either.
Yeah, I don't think they can. Yeah, that's another reason too. I think Michigan is going to be able to run very effectively, and that's something Minnesota is not stopping very well at the moment. Plus, their offense seems to be pretty anemic. It's what we thought it would be. And then when you see how bad North Carolina really is.
That's the other thing is like, man, when I saw what JMU did to North Carolina, hanging 70 points on them, like, how bad is that Minnesota offense? It looked competent for a little bit towards the end of the first half, but man, this is.
So to me, I mean,
it's 9. It's 9, Ryan. So you get it at 9.
Oh, it's 9. I thought it was at 11. Okay. Yes, I like that. I like it. So definitely, I'm taking
touchdown and a field goal.
Yeah, I was gonna say I got Michigan. I got Michigan on that one. So
this is a 9-point spread in a 36-point total.
Gosh.
Well, I mean, let me ask you, Matt. You say you're taking my picks. Would you put a little bit on this one?
Like 22-13.
Yeah, and I would take the under.
Yeah. So you think Minnesota's offense can keep it under 10-point spread?
No, I don't think they're going to be able to score enough. I mean, I think they'd be lucky to score 10 points.
24-7.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's hope so. So I can get to 4-1. So I like that. All right. Well, that's going to do it, man.
I hope you do.
Yeah, another great show, you guys. And let me take this off here and look at what we got our record wise. They're on here. Duce 15-14 with a +2.5 on his units, and Matt 14-15 with a -4.5 on his units.
Yeah, the locks are really hurting Matt's unit total. So
yeah, I'm 1-4 on my locks, right? So
here's the thing, man. The great Bambino, he struck out a lot too. But he was still great. So Matt, you're still great in my eyes.
The thing about it, Matt, I've been in alignment with you. One of the ones I thought you should have went to the well again last week was Buffalo and Northern.
Yeah.
But Northern was given like 11.5. There's a lot of public like BS on them after the Notre Dame win.
You're right. Everybody patting him on the back.
Yep.
I'm waiting whenever Matt decides to take his vacay and make his little picks before he's laying back sipping his margaritas, and he has no care in the world. And he takes Indiana plus 35, and I'm like, wait a second, dude, don't do it, Matt. You're like, no, man, that's my lock. Ohio State's gonna run him out of the arena, and you're like, no, they're keeping it under 35.
Hey, Indiana could go to 5-0 for the first time since they went to the Rose Bowl, I think, in 1967. So,
yeah, this year's Indiana team, I would have agreed with you on that. Last year's Indiana team that had given up on himself already, no. But anywho, there's still time. What makes the show good and great is Matt was behind a nice distance to start last year, and he caught himself up towards the end. So you can still do that. Other than that, Illinois, Penn State, 6:30 NBC Saturday night. I can't wait already. So
prime time.
Real quick to answer a question here, because this is a Keeping It Orange and Blue podcast with a sub-segment as Fade to Deuce. Illinois came out of Nebraska, from what I'm understanding, pretty injury-free. Franklin was limping walking off the field, but he did play in overtime. He did play a little bit in the fourth quarter. So I think Illinois should be fine there. I think Tanner Arkin's okay, even though we had the back bend. Henry Boyer traveled with the team. I saw him. God, that's a massive man. But he didn't play. He wasn't quite cleared to play. So I think we should be almost as close to full health as you can be. And my goodness, does a bye week come at a wonderful time for Illinois?
Yep.
It's going to be really needed after
and to get ready for Purdue, who really, I mean, you got to get up for that game because it's Ryan Walters and Reggie Love and that, but
they're not losing that game.
Yeah, they're not going to lose that. They're not. I'm telling you, man.
Not with this team.
What did Oregon State run for on them? Like 378 yards.
That's the second time. I think we talked about it on the show. That's the second time this year they've given up 340 plus rushing yards. Purdue.
I had a Nebraska fan in my mentions after the game the other night because I had a little tweet up. He said, I bet you bookmark this tweet because the Illini will be 4-4 in a month. and said, "I bet you at all, and Nebraska will finish with a better record than the Illini."
Ooh.
Said, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll take that. I'll take that all day. They're not finished, or they're not losing the next 4 games in a row. I'm here to tell you.
Goodness, no. And I'm going to say this, and it's not even going to be the Purdue game that they win, just that one. So, yeah, I feel pretty good about them. I'm just telling you. Just telling you. I don't know if it's that October 19th game or not, but we can't. We're excited.
I called that from day one.
Well, yeah, you have. Yeah. Let's see. We did our pick, so I'm still proud of my 8 wins.
I was 7-5.
That might even be too low, you guys.
I hope you are.
I was 6-6. So if they continue with where they're going, it's going to be an 8-4 season based on what I had them losing to Kansas and Nebraska. So.
They have a 60% chance to get to 8 wins or more.
It's a great number.
I was going to say, what's that? That he was on Hot Wings. He plays Ant-Man. What's his name?
Paul Rudd.
Yeah, Paul Rudd. He's like, hey, look at us. Look at us.
Oh, yeah.
Look at us. Who'd have thought? Nobody. That's Illinois right there, baby.
Might that be Illinois and Indiana in a couple weeks?
That's right.
I'm thinking about doing that with the Spider-Man meme.
I'm actually rather enjoying like some of the Purdue bullshit that they're talking on Twitter, and like Indiana fans are jumping in, and I get to jump in and defend Indiana because that's a much better football team.
Oh my gosh, just stop. Yeah, I was gonna say if Illinois loses to Purdue this year, oh Lord, it's just not meant to be. It's just not meant to be. All right, you guys, everybody, appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll be back next Tuesday. Have a great week. Swami out.
ILL.